And the first question is, what is your name?
My name is Gregory, or Gregorio Buffkin, and I'm a priest here in a church in the Anglican Communion in Cuernavaca, Morelos, Mexico.
And will you tell us your belief in what the soul is? What is the soul?
For me, and I may be a bit unorthodox in my opinion quite different from other Anglicans, the soul actually for me comes from, in Latin it's anima, which means life. And I think it's that essence of life that we have in us. And I think generally we tend to think of life as perhaps beginning at conception or at birth and ending at death. And I think part of what we have is our message from our tradition is that life is much more than that. Life is the whole creation. And the principles and the things we do in life often continue on after we're not here. And that's the life that we give to the world. That's the resurrected body of Christ, as we say in traditional language. That's the life that is in us and within us and around us, and that goes well beyond who we are as this fiction, which I call it, being an individual.
And what happens after we die?
Well, it depends. You can be cremated or buried as far as the body goes. And I hear in Tibet or Nepal they lay you out for the vultures. No, in some places they burn you in funeral pyres. If you're at sea, you get dumped into the ocean. And I think NASA's looking at what they would do with an astronaut that would die. Do they just dump him off into space? Who knows? If that's what happens to our physical bodies. I'm not much about this idea of a soul being sort of this floating thing, like ghost, like a Amityville or something like that. I don't think that such a thing really exists. What happens to us after we die, as far as our consciousness? Well, we lose it. Our brains no longer work, and that's where our minds basically are. I think there are things that we do, I like to call them principles of life, of loving and giving and helping, or just being the best that we can be, which is not always an easy job in and of itself. I think that continues. And I actually have a story, if I may tell it. There's a lovely lady who brought the AA group to our church a number of years ago, Magda. And she had really experienced a spiritual renewal. When I say spiritual, I like to think of that as being a good synonym for meaning. She had found a new meaning in her life. And she always said we're spiritual beings, or beings in search of meaning, living a human experience. Well, when she passed away, which was some 5 years ago, she left an AA group that's very successful here. She left lots of friends, and she left this wonderful legacy of finding good and making something good out of everything. So in that sense, her body, I saw when she was cremated, that's not around. Her soul, I don't think it's floating out there. In Mexico, they have the tradition that the spirits come and pull your foot at night. No, I don't think that sort of thing happens. But this wonderful legacy of a life of principles and love and giving and making the very best out of this created world that we have, that she left. She's still around. And in all of us. The fact that I'm doing this interview with you today, and all of you who are seeing it there in our viewing public, is a legacy of her ongoing life, because she was very helpful when I was working to become a priest.
Thank you very much for sharing all of this with us.
Well, and as you know, I have lots more to share, so I'll be waiting for the second interview. Thank you very much.